Hello, beautiful souls. This is Diane Lang from Wisdom of the Akashics. Thank you very much for your visit to the YouTube channel. You guys know I always like to start out thanking everybody for your likes, your subscriptions, anyone that's been booking readings, for the comments, for the feedback, for the testimonials. I'm so grateful for everybody that's participating at any level. And I talk about that a lot, is that it doesn't matter if that you're coming to readings or anything. It really, I look at participation in, are you looking at and trying to be in the energy of your heart on this journey? Because that's actually what will draw the most beautiful experience to us, is when we're operating from the heart. And so that's a lot about what I teach about. And one of the things I want to talk about today is the last video that I did and I did a reading, and the energy that came up was about surrender. And it's really important to understand what surrender is. And, I can frame surrender in a different, maybe meaning to somebody else. So it's all about the context of surrender. We talk about this a lot. I'm an advanced Akashic Record consultant, and in the Akashic Records, when we talk about a negative choice, for example, the context doesn't mean that it's bad or that you mean to be punished for it or anything. It simply means that it was a choice that took you away from your divinity versus a choice that drew you to your divinity. So it's not about judgment about the choice. It's just simply the context of the choice. We define it as negative, as in moved you away. And surrender is similar. I may have a different context for surrender than somebody else. What the universe gives to me and what I understand about surrender is really, it's about actually going into a place of full faith and trust. It's not about giving up. It's not about letting go. It's not about doing absolutely nothing. It's not about, if you feel that you need to be engaged into communication, that you stop communicating with your beloved, with your twin, with the person that you desire to have that heart relationship with. It does mean that you need to surrender some of it over to the universe, because there is a bigger story going on here than just us at the egoic level. And it's really important to understand, particularly I think in the twin relationships, they are so much based on the energy of the heart. Because if you understand a true twin relationship, that is the shared soul, a shared soul. That means that you have the highest resonance with that soul than any other soul in the universe. Our twins aren't based on an incarnation. Soulmates are people that come in and out of our lives, that we incarnate with, that we are in familiar genealogy lines with and such. But our twins are actually the mere representation of our soul. So if you understand that story, it's when we're birthed into the universe, as a twin, and then we separate it into an individuated expression, but we are the mere soul expression of each other. So there is a permanent soul connection to that particular person that is different than somebody just being a soulmate. So one of the things that I got a question the other day, that's why I'm doing the extra video, is, what does it mean to surrender, Diane? And I actually really recommend that you think about that. You define what it means for yourself. Because first of all, you can get guidance from someone outside of yourself, and from myself or from another reader, but you have to understand and really have a context for what it means for you. So I actually put up on my whiteboard that I have in my office, what does it look like for me to surrender? And for me, it's about going into full faith and trust in the higher story, in divine timing, in that if we are able to come above and raise into the highest vibration in this lifetime, that we will meet in the energy of love. The love is already there. The connection is there. I get people to look at it as look at two separate individuated souls that have a connection from my heart to yours, from my heart to his, from his heart to yours, that it is a connection that is unlike any other being on the earth. So you can't actually give up on your twin. You can't give up on your twin without giving up on yourself. And I have said that right from the beginning of my series. And so it's not about giving up. Be very clear about that. I actually told my twin one time that I said, I can't actually give up on you. It's not even an option for me. The love is there. It's natural. It's meant to be. It's soul expressed. It's the soul connection. And so I don't try to fight that part of the story. It's about staying in faith and trust that when we are meant to be in full divine alignment, that we will come into it. I also have to recognize that some people are, because of the ability to choose free will, because of when we get through, we incarnate into this lifetime and we don't know what circumstances, we may incarnate into an agreement with a family, and in that family some tragedy happens that, maybe takes us completely off path. An accident takes our mother off the earth, for example. And from that point forward, they don't have that nurturing, loving relationship with their mom. Maybe they go into a lot of grief, fear of loving, all of that. And it changes their trajectory. It changes the trajectory of where that soul intended to come. There's people that will say that absolutely everything is meant to be. I actually am not a big believer in that. I do believe that there's things that are meant to be, but I don't believe that means that they will actually come into fruition, because we actually, as human beings, when we choose the human experience, we get to actually choose through free will whether or not we stay in pain. We get to choose whether or not we rise up above our blocks and restrictions, which is the negative choice that I was talking about. We choose whether or not we allow love, whether we hold back love. We may be choosing it at a conscious level, or it may be an unconscious program running. If it's something from a past life and you came here to actually energetically rise and come above that vibration, and so that you heal that wound, so to speak. And if you haven't done that, if you come into this lifetime and you don't do the work that you set out to in, say, the early part of your life, then it does change the outcome of what may happen in the future. And so it's really I think it's important to understand that the biggest thing to understand is that it's really about the journey that we choose to take. Because if you go into full faith and trust, then you can let go of the need to control, for example. It doesn't mean that you never speak to them again. It doesn't mean that you stay in anger and frustration. It doesn't mean that nothing is ever going to come to fruition. It doesn't mean that they're not going to maybe leave that partnership that they're in, but it means that you're giving it over to faith and trust. And when you give it over in faith and trust, you raise your energetic vibration, which allows more goodness, more love, more happiness, more joy to come in, and you make a commitment to experience that regardless of the outcome of the twin, because that's the part that I think a lot of people are stuck in, the pain, because the relationship hasn't yet come to fruition, that they stay in pain and they go into this doubt, well, it's never going to happen, and then we put all this energy about he's not doing this and she's not doing that. That is all push energy, is what I've described it as. It's what it is actually energetically. It's pushing them away when we're sending them all this negative energy, because you have to realize, if you are that twin connection, everything you feel at some level will be felt by them. I know that often I'll feel some deep sadness, and then, I recognize that, I might have been in a perfectly good place energetically, and all of a sudden, boom, I feel this deep sadness, and then I get a phone call and somebody's just gotten bad news and they've reached out for support. So that energy of sadness wasn't mine. It's just that because I'm empathetic and I'm open and I feel other people's energy, particularly people that I'm connected to, I get that information ahead of time, which is also why I'm a strong intuitive, and why when I do work with people and do readings for people, I get information that is meant to be passed on to you at that time. So it's the right information for the right person at the right time. That's what actual an intuitive channel really does. And so I don't plan a lot of my sessions ahead of time. I have my program, which is the Awakened Soul, and we kind of have a set things that we're going to learn and some set themes that we're going to go through when we go through that program. But every session I have is an individual session, because your story is completely different than my other clients, to that client, to this client. There's a running theme. For example, if it's around the twin energy, there'll be a theme around it. If it's in the Akashic Records, it's about awakening to your soul, becoming soul expressed, becoming in alignment with your divine gifts and all of that. But each session is individual. So, and because I'm an intuitive channel, I don't actually plan a lot ahead of time, because it really doesn't serve either one of us to do that, because I can have a set kind of theme that we're going to talk about, and we might get off completely in a different direction, and then that direction is the direction that was meant to be, because that's where the information that comes, it's of value to that person that day in that session. And so I've learned to just trust in this. And when you get the feedback from your clients that, wow, I didn't even know that was still, bothering me, or I didn't know I was still hanging on to that, but that's what came up. It's kind of like Reiki energy. When I went and studied my Reiki, and I'm a master level Reiki practitioner, when I went and practiced and studied my Reiki, they used to always say the energy will go where the energy is supposed to go. So somebody may come to us and think that they're coming to us to heal this particular area or blockage or where they have pain, and then something completely different will come up. And it's kind of like peeling the onion, that the spirit, your guidance, your higher self actually knows, no, we're not going to work on that relationship, because really it's way back in time where the wound was initiated and where it's being held, and then the Reiki energy will go to where it's supposed to go. It's very similar in regards to channeling. So there's a couple things that Spirit wants you to know. One of them is that it's to really embrace, to allow yourself to have faith and trust in something, to say, let go. I'm going to maybe make a decision that I'm actually not going to reach out, say, for example, to my twin right now. It doesn't mean you're going to love them any less. It doesn't mean that you're going to send them any less love. It doesn't mean that you're going to think badly of it. It doesn't mean that you're going to go into negative programming. And if you're doing all of that, that's exactly what you need to work on. And that's actually beautiful to understand, because then you actually know, okay, I decided I'm going to let them go in faith and trust, but in the meantime, this program is running that's keeping me in fear and doubt and distrust and pain and all of that. And so it tells you that, you yourself are not raising your vibration to attract that love. And so it's really always about turning the mirror around. I don't focus a lot on my twin at all, because I understand that I need to be the one looking in the mirror for me to have my energetic vibration where I draw in the level of love and light into my heart that I want to experience at this time. And that when I get into fear and doubt, there's usually some program running, there's something that triggered me, whether it's an abandonment issue or something like that, self-doubt, worthiness of that type of love, understanding that they often have their own agreements that they have to complete, that there may be separation that has to take place, and that separation may cause them a lot of fear. There may be financial issues. There may be issues about stepping out of a family where there's children present. We have to trust them to come to the highest place for them to actually come and receive the love that we have, and we have to be able to receive the highest love that they have for us. So surrender is not giving up. It is in a sense, you can say you're giving it over to source, but you're still going to stay a participant in the sense that you're always going to be working on cleaning up your own garden, so to speak. I always talk about, if people are really focusing on the neighbor, so to speak, all the problems are over there. And in the meantime, your garden is turning to shit. Your grass is covered in weeds. You don't shovel your own walk. These are just like examples that you can kind of maybe resonate with. Basically, it means, why are you focusing on someone outside of yourself when really what we know is we have to clean up our own story? That's actually how you create the highest level of the law of attraction that you can have. And the law of attraction is vibrational match. If you want something in your life, you have to be a vibrational match for it. And that's something that I get in really in depth with when I'm working one-on-one with people, because we just look at what's showing up and then what is it that I actually want to show up, and then work on becoming a vibrational match for that. So if something's not yet happening, instead of looking outside of ourselves, look at, I'm not yet a vibrational match for that to show up in my life. It could be money, it could be health, it could be the relationship, it could be cleaning up some experience from this lifetime or another lifetime. So I wanted to just do this video just to give you some kind of context about surrender and what it is that the universe wants you to understand about it. It's not about letting go. I wrote some notes here, and one of them, and something I wrote, it's allowing the journey to unfold while we focus inward. Because there's only one person that we ultimately have control over. There's only one person who really wakes up in our head, and it's ourselves. My dad used to say to me when I was a young girl, as long as you can go to bed in your own head, you should wake up peaceful. What he meant by that is if you're at peace with the actions that you had that day, so you can go to bed in your own head, meaning you don't have to be spending all this time about all the horrible things that went on that day, or if you felt that you did something that wasn't appropriate, that you apologized for it, things like that. That was just a saying he used to say, if you can go to bed in your own head, you should wake up peaceful. And so it's something that I've tried to use as a pattern in my life. And so, and the other things that he always says, if you can't deal with it in the moment, don't let it keep you awake. Because he was amazing at actually just going to sleep, no matter what chaos was going on in our lives. And so I wanted to understand that. And he said, well, if you can't deal with it in the moment, meaning in other words, maybe you got some news, or you got a bill and you weren't expecting it, or they've taken some money out of your account, or you have to talk to somebody but you can't talk to them in the middle of the night, that was the point. If you can't deal with it, if you can't get up and actually do something about it, don't let it keep you awake. And so it's something that you actually have to put into practice. This stuff isn't natural for a lot of us, because a lot of us have been brought up in the energy of worry and doubt. And really the practice of faith and trust is really where you'll start to find your greatest growth, by just giving it over and knowing that as long as I'm working on my own garden, as long as I'm planting the right seeds in my head, as long as I'm bringing the right vibrational energy into my heart, then that's going to bring me the results that I want. I'm going to become a vibrational match for what it is I truly want to experience in this life. So one of the other things I want to say also is that if you are interested in doing participating in any, I'm going to do some Google Hangouts, some live Hangouts. I'm going to start them. I'm looking at doing 2 a week. So sign up, subscribe below so that you'll get notified. I will try to set a schedule for that, and I'm looking at a Tuesday and a Thursday, maybe Tuesday morning and a Thursday evening. Yes, that will work for me. So you'll be able to come on and then ask specific questions. I'm not going to have people send me photos and say, is this my twin? I am seeing this happen so much on Facebook groups and stuff where people are putting it up. And I said this in my video, wow, talk about giving over your power to somebody else, asking an entire group of people, is this my twin? That is something that you have to come to alignment with and belief in your own heart. And if you're doing what I call twin jumping, or, if you're saying I'm always in pain and there's never been anything good about this relationship and they're always hurting me, that's a really good question to ask if you think that's your twin. Because your twin doesn't intentionally ever hurt you. If their behavior is really, really bad, then you'd have to look at, what pain are they in that's causing their behavior to be like that all the time. But if the energy of love isn't the underlying vibration in that relationship, I would look at it, is that your twin? Is that what you expect that twin relationship to be when you have that deep soul love It's like loving yourself. That's actually what it is, to love your twin. That's why self-love becomes this amazing outcome of being in connecting with your twin. And this is something I see a lot in my clients, and when they write me in and they'll say, you know, this experience is bringing me to a level of self-love, and that is actually one of the greatest gifts that I have found. And I have thanked my twin for that on many occasions, saying, you know, you've catapulted me to really want to look at myself and be the best version of myself, be more loving and forgiving towards myself and towards the other people in my life, clean up my relationships, take ownership of my own experiences, you know, because that became a natural experience for me based on the love and expression that I have for this individual on the earth. It doesn't guarantee union, but it definitely guarantees growth of the heart. And that does raise our vibration, which allows us to set healthier boundaries in all of our relationships. And that might be something I talk about on one of the videos, is, you know, and maybe the YouTube live videos. I'm going to do more YouTube lives than just doing videos like this. So I appreciate your visit. If you're interested in any of the services that I offer, visit wisdomoftheakashics.com. I am an advanced Akashic Record consultant, so my main focus in business is on the Akashic Records, which is your soul life story, you know, the actual full story of your soul in the Akashic Records. I offer a free 30-minute discovery session that is specific to the Akashic Records, but I do energetic clearings and twin flame readings, and you know, there's a lot of testimonials on my website if you want to have a view at those. But God bless your beautiful soul. God bless your experience of expansion in 2017. Allow yourself to really evaluate what surrender is to you. And if you need help with that, that may be something that we could do if you want to book a session, is to actually understand that. Because one of the things I do know, if we don't have a context for something, we don't have a measuring stick of how to get there. Are we there? Are we halfway there? Are we there? You know, have we got to a place where we can really move to something new now? So that's something that I work a lot with, is helping people really look at their measuring sticks or create them so that they have a way to say, I'm really growing and expanding. Or, you know what, I haven't moved past this at all. So then you know where to work. It's never about judgment. Judgment is what keeps the lower energetic programs of shame and blame and doubt and obligation and frustration, all of that. That's actually what keeps those programs running. And so if you are in a place where you really don't feel good about a lot in life, don't be angry at yourself for it. Just know that you have to make some vibrational shifts, some conscious decisions about what you're doing, maybe how you are handling something. Are you letting go? Are you hanging on? You know, are your feet on the ground? Or are you always kind of in the etheric realms, in the realms of coaches and healers and teachers? You know, I specialize in spiritual entrepreneurship with my clients. So if there is an area that you want to focus on and advance your spiritual entrepreneurship, that would be something that you may want to look at, that 8-week Awakened Soul program. But one of the things is to realize is that we have to really be accountable for where we're at, where we want to go, and get clear on what it is that you have to offer and what it is that you came here to do. And so, you know, in love and light to each and every one of you. Certainly, I don't recommend ever giving up, because giving up is never an energy that's going to make you feel good. And if any energy doesn't make you feel good, it's not energetically for you at that time. You know, but do understand that there is a difference between surrendering and bringing in faith and trust into the story versus just completely letting go and giving up to the story and giving up on them. Because in my world, I simply couldn't do that, because it's such a beautiful representation for me to understand that's in essence giving up on my own heart. And under no circumstances, no matter how much pain has been brought to me in relationships, am I willing to do that. So God bless beautiful souls. You know, let's make 2017 an amazing year. Again, thank you for your visits, your likes, your comments. My Facebook page is wisdomoftheakashics.com. Facebook.com/wisdomoftheakashics. And have a blessed week. I'll see you on the the YouTube live videos. And if you do have any questions, you know, you can also send them in advance. Send them to Diane at wisdomoftheakashics.com. If there's something that you do have specific that you'd like me to talk about, then you can send them in there, and I'll try to bring them into the YouTube live sessions. God bless. Namaste. Diane Lang, Wisdom of the Akashics.